Give you what you need to tech news and lab interviews. What's going on, y'all? Give you what you need to tech news and lab interviews. What's going on, y'all?
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's been a while. I had to take a little break, but now we back with a new season, and I got a new guest with me. His name is Jubee. He is the co-founder of Yellowtail Tech Training. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hey, Jared, thank you. Thank you for having me, man.
I appreciate you for coming on. All right, let's get right into it because I know you're a busy man. We got short time frame. So let's talk about what made you get into the technology arena?
Well, I went to school for management information systems. So basically the idea was I was trying to figure out what to get in. And a friend of mine told me, you have both interests. You have interest in technology and in business. There's this cool program at University of Maryland that combines the two. That's the first time I heard about MIS. So I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. So I went to school for management information systems. So the whole idea the whole time was to actually be in the business of technology, not only delivering it, but be in the business of technology. So yeah, it's been 15 years. So yeah, that's how I got into technology in general.
Okay, cool. So what made you start your own education technology company, Yellowtail?
Yeah, so a few reasons. First, like I said, I always wanted to be in the business of technology. So after I graduated, I realized that I had very, very little specific skills to actually go sell to the market. And then I was looking around, and then luckily I found a mentor called Jonas Okwara. He taught me about Linux. So I spent all that time in school and money, and no one ever told me the sheer amount of opportunities there is in Linux in general. So he trained me in Linux, and a few months after that, I had a market value uh, um, about north of $90,000, and we're talking about 15 years ago. So I'm like, man, this is mind blowing. And I remember I thanked them. I'm like, thank you for this. I will take this program, whatever you offered me, I will make it 10 times better, and I will always make sure I thank you for it. So that's what I did. I did a bit of work in the corporate world, and then when it was time, I'm like, I'm gonna build a program, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna focus on people with absolutely no IT background, people with the high performance habit necessary to actually do the work, but with absolutely no IT background, because this is where I saw the need, the niche, and the gap in offering. Focus on people with absolutely no IT background and helping them switch over. So that's what I did. We started building the idea 7 years ago, 6 years ago. We started full blown, and yeah, we've been doing that since, man.
All right, cool. All right, so I'm a full-time engineer, I work for government, and I'm a college professor as well. So the number one question I get from my students is, what's more important, either the degree or the certification? So what is your answer?
Take it from someone with a few degrees myself. Absolutely the certifications and the hands-on.
Okay.
And that's what happened. After my fancy degrees, I went to the market. They were like, okay, so yeah, great. Do you have those degrees? What can we offer specifically that's going to solve, once we add you to this team, how are you going to be able to add value from day one? And I couldn't answer that. I had very generic, broad, theoretical knowledge that wasn't necessarily transferable directly to a team. So yes, definitely. Especially nowadays, where universities are trying to retrofit an old model into a new era. Basically, the credit hour, the 120 credit to get a degree, the 4-year format, the 6 months semester, it doesn't work anymore. It's an old 200 or 300 years old model. They're trying to retrofit in 2021. You see what I mean? And the second problem I see, although some universities and colleges are trying to fix that, is the professor sometimes don't have the hands-on. And
Yes,
this is the
yes,
difference. This is the difference from in our training center. So all our instructors bring back knowledge that they've been doing the same day. They bring that back to the classroom that same night, and you cannot say that for all the professors. You know, they have great knowledge, but sometimes it's theoretical. They've left the corporate world a while ago, so the transfer knowledge, the knowledge transfer from hands-on to classroom, there's a lag. There's usually, you know, a lag in terms of years, not hours, just like our instructors. So to a short answer, the certification and hands-on is way more important, especially in 2021,
okay.
than
All right.
than college degrees and so on.
Okay, I agree with you about the college still doing some things in old way, but I've noticed since COVID and since I guess the University of Phoenix started the online program, college universities are now doing mini semesters now. They're having some courses that be 4 weeks, some that's 8 weeks now. So they're trying to get away from the 16-week format.
Hmm.
So because they're trying to catch up because of companies like yourself are putting pressure on them. And I'm glad they're doing that because even when I was in college, I was always wondering like, why we got to take this class for so long? I
Hmm.
think you put in a shorter format, we can get the job done quicker.
Yeah.
Uh,
So they are. I agree, they are adapting, but
mm,
it's like any big, it's like an elephant trying to adapt. It's smaller companies like us, we are more agile in general.
mm,
So we can adapt faster. You know, the decision to change or tweak something to make my program more relevant takes days or hours, but it takes months or years for an institution like a university or college. So the agility of adapting to what the market needs real time, we have that in terms of advantage on colleges and universities.
right, I agree. I agree. All right. So can you tell people about what programs do you offer?
Yes, we offer two programs, Linux for Jobs and AWS for Jobs. So Linux for Jobs trains you to become a Linux DevOps system administrator, and AWS for Jobs trains you to become an AWS DevOps system engineer. We specifically focus on programs that leverages the operating system called Linux as a foundational piece. This is we intentionally choose that because not only that's what we know, that's what we have a combined experience of about 30 years or more in our team, and also this is an area that we see is growing. So all both of our programs have a high emphasis on Linux as the operating system. As so yeah, two programs. One is called Linux for Job. One is called AWS for Jobs.
Okay. All right. So can you explain how when a new student comes in, how the curriculum works? Do we have
Yeah.
to choose one or the other, or can they do both? How does that work?
Yeah, clear, clear. So yes, they have to choose. We help them make that decision, but they have to choose one program or the other. One program is 6 months, and one program is 9 months. One uh, uh, has is optimizing for you to be a system administrator on your way to become a system engineer in an on-prem environment, meaning the company or the institution you're going to be working for has their own data center, they manage their own systems, they in-house or not, but they manage their own servers and infrastructure. And the second one, which is AWS for Jobs, is focusing on getting you ready to help companies who leverage cloud computing, what they call infrastructure as code, for as their environment. So it's two different directions. They both start with Linux, because even if you're working on-prem or on the cloud, knowing Linux is very important. But it's the most deciding factor in and choosing really. Do you want to optimize to go work in a environment that has a lot of on-prem infrastructure, or do you want to work in an environment that has more infrastructure as code, what they call cloud computing infrastructure? So that's the big difference. That's what we help our prospect students navigate and decide. And also, one is slightly more involved, more ambitious than the other. So AWS for Job is a 9 months program. It's a
Okay.
5 course program. It's serious. It's serious
Okay.
work. So
Okay.
you have to be committed. So the
Yeah.
other one is 6 months. It's a little bit less in terms of commitment, and less neuron will be firing in general.
All right, no problem. Okay, so all right, so now the student is inside the program. Let's just choose. Let's go with the cloud because I'm a cloud engineer. So
AWS? What
yeah,
what's your
AWS,
what,
yeah, AWS. Yeah,
all right,
don't,
we got
I don't
some
even mess
stuff
with
to
the other
talk
one.
about.
Wait, what'd you say?
We got a lot to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say they're in the AWS program. How does the curriculum work? Is it every day? Is it a few
Hmm.
hours? Do they have a lot of virtual labs, hands-on
Sure,
activities?
for sure, for sure.
Okay.
So like I said, this is designed, although it's a more involved program, it's still designed for people with no IT background. So our program, we start both of our program with IT infrastructure and networking. Independent of cloud or wherever your infrastructure is, you have to have the basic infrastructure and networking knowledge. You get that. And then 30% of the program, you learn Linux. Because a lot of people don't realize that uh, cloud computing, especially AWS, is just an abstraction of a real operating system running in someone else's data center. So you need to know Linux. You see, most of the commands you're going to be running, you're going to need to understand Linux to run them. So 30% of the program is for you to master, understand Linux networking infrastructure as a whole. And then we move you to the core part of the program, which is AWS, where you learn how to build infrastructure as code, leverage the services of AWS. And then after that, we have a capstone. Unlike most other programs, our capstone is AWS SysOps, the SysOps certification. And
Okay.
in parallel to making sure you have your SysOps certification, we make sure you learn Python automation skills. Because
Okay.
if you show up into an environment, cloud environment, and you don't have some coding language to build and manage automation, you're not doing it right. And I'm sure you know that. So so we take away the emphasis from certifications, but we make sure we put it on hands-on. So our program is a cohort format where you always start. There is a very set start and a set start date and a set end date, and we make sure we're moving you through the process. You show up to class on a schedule. Everything is on a schedule. That's what we've realized work and actually keep people moving through the process. And then after that, for select students who actually excel and did well and passed the cert, we have a partner company where we enroll them in internship with that company. This is where they're going to be building real infrastructure, building real CI/CD pipelines to have the hands-on. Because this is the big gap you also probably are going to notice in the industry where yes, you have the knowledge, but where do you get a chance to get the hands on? So the catch 22,
Mm.
you need a job to get the experience, but where do you get the experience to get the job? So they get access to an internship to get the hands on, to be able to show up to the job market to talk about things they've been doing, not only things
Okay.
they've learned, things they understand, but when it's time to actually deliver real infrastructure and build things, it's very important for us to support them. So it's very hands-on. It's a very hands-on centric in general. And it really emphasizes on the job. That's why we call it AWS for Jobs. It's not by accident.
Mm.
It's the only measure by which we go.
Okay.
Did Jared get a job as a result of working with us? That's the only thing we measure. Doesn't matter how much you loved it, how much you enjoyed the instructors. Did you get a job as a result of working with Yellowtail Tech?
Okay.
That's the question we ask.
What is the time frame after they finish the program when they find a job for you?
Within 6 months, meaning the internship after the program is 2 months, getting you ready, mock interviews, getting your resume set up, the whole process inside of 6 months after the program.
Okay. All right. And how much does the tuition for this program run?
It depends on the program, depends on what incentive we're offering at the time, but it varies anywhere between $8,000 to $12,000.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So all right. So let's say after they finish the program, let's say they get a job. Is there like an alumni association? Do
Oh,
they
yes.
keep in touch with each other? Do y'all follow up?
For sure. And that's what I tell students. Actually, I was talking about this morning. It's two things we offer. We offer training support, and that's obvious. But what we also offer is a community, because don't forget, Jared, we focus on people with no IT background, so they don't have a community, they don't have a network in this industry. They probably have another career before they came to us, but they haven't had a chance to build a network around technology. So that's what we offer to them, to tap into our community of alumni, of instructors, to be able to start growing and leveraging that community. So definitely, we have students who come back to support as TAs, just to encourage current students. So yeah, our community is vibrant and growing.
Okay. All right. So during the instructors, what are their qualifications? Do they need to have like multiple years of experience, high level certification, degrees, or how are your instructors? Because I looked at some instructors; they have some great credentials.
Say again. Ask the question again.
I said, what are the requirements to become an instructor for the program?
Yeah. The requirement for us is how 90 interesting stats. The first thing is 90% of our instructors was trained by us. So most of our instructors have the same background. That's the big difference also, by the way. When we were talking about colleges versus what we offer here, is that most of our instructors, they've gone through the same process. So they understand where you're coming from, what it actually takes to get there, and how to support you. So what we require is that you have a job, you have multiple certification, and you are performing at the highest level in your career, because we don't invite any instructor to come deliver what they are not doing themselves. So that's the requirement, that we understand where your training came from, how you went about acquiring it, what you are doing in your current job, and how it is you can add that same value to other students. So our instructors relate in a very deep way to our student body, because they've been through this. 90% of our instructors came from a non-IT background, meaning accounting, psychology, social work. You see what I mean? So they are the success story of what the student is trying to aspire to.
All right, that's cool. Wow.
Yeah, and we made it a point to have it that way.
Okay.
So it's not a professor who went who has a PhD in computer science talking down at you.
Oh, I remember those people, and I work with some of them, and I'd be like, "Yeah, you haven't worked in IT ever." But anyway, that's another.
For another day.
Yeah, that's another day. That's another podcast right there. So how do you and your staff? How do you all keep up with the new knowledge? Do you all do refresher training every year? Because I see in IT when I work with people get a certain certification and they chill until it's time. Maybe 3 years after the certification about to expire, they may get another certification, or they just keep doing what is the CEUs, continuing education units.
Yeah.
So how do y'all stay up to date?
A few ways. First, the first difference is we have our ears to what the market needs through our instructors. Don't forget, they are full-blown professional on the daytime, right? So they know what's happening in their environment. They know what's needed. They know what's hot. They know what's staying, because they have to interact with these technologies. So that's the first thing. The second thing, to keep them like to give our instructors incentive to level up, is that we finance all continuing education for our instructors. So if they want to take any type of certification, Yellowtail pays for it. Yellowtail encourages it. And even if we need to go outside of Yellowtail to get additional training to bring back, the company finances it. So it's a way to incentivize our staff, our instructors, or collaborators to level up and keep up to date with the technologies in general.
Okay. So we're still in the middle of a pandemic. I see we're starting to see some smaller improvements because of the vaccination. How did COVID impact your organization?
Positively, definitely,
Okay.
because it did two things. We when the pandemic hit, we just completed a complete pivot to having an exclusively online program. So it's just like adding gas to the fire that we already put together, because after COVID, people were more receptive to the idea of online collaboration in general. Here and there, you used to hear some people say, I need the face-to-face interaction. I need to feel I'm walking into a class. But after COVID, this totally went away. So people got comfortable with collaborating, studying, going to work completely in a completely remote fashion.
Okay.
Because we trying to mimic as much as possible what they're gonna encounter in a real environment, which is remote collaboration. I did a survey. Over 95% of our alumni are working 100% remotely, and I don't think that's going to change. So a lot of people need to, if they're still considering IT, they have to be comfortable with completely operating in a remote environment.
Okay.
So yeah, it definitely helped us expand our reach and serve the whole United States in general.
All right. Cool. Cool. Yeah, I've noticed when COVID first started, students were complaining about doing online 100% of the time. Now they don't even want to go back to the college.
Yeah,
Like,
and I tell them the prospects that still are concerned. I tell them, look at it this way: if you're serious about a a career in IT, you have to be comfortable with remote collaboration. If you cannot study and learn and collaborate remotely, while you're studying, you're gonna still have issues, because most likely your job, if you are in Texas, your job is gonna be out of North Carolina. So you probably are gonna still be in a remote environment. So if you have issues with it, you should probably start reconsidering your career path right now. It's forget about Yellowtail, or I don't know, the next offering. You're gonna have to get with the program. The new program is remote collaboration. Period.
I got you. Okay. Can you talk about what type of? Oh, I think we have a comment. Give me 1 second. Okay. Can you talk about what type of technology did you utilize to help train students, and how the students communicate? How do y'all communicate with the students and the teachers? How does that work?
Yeah, so we use it mostly Slack. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Teams for people who don't know
Mhm.
Slack. So it's a very robust communication platform that most technology companies use. It's competing with Microsoft Teams. This is the main platform we use for collaboration between students, our team in general. We have a policy at Yellowtail, zero email. So we only use email for external communication. So internally within our team and our student body, we use Slack exclusively, and it has been the best decision we've made to improve our communication in general.
Okay. All right. So I see we only got like maybe 5, 10 more minutes. So can you give the because now I see more people coming in live now. Can you talk about what type of questions that your students will encounter when you're interviewing for positions?
Um, what have you done? Tell me about what you've done last week, or
Hmm.
a very open-ended questions. So that's why I tell students you have to show up with a book of uh, uh, examples, with a book of scenarios. So interviews lately tend to be more scenario based. They want to see not only an answer, but your thought process to get you to what you were trying to accomplish. So it's very much open-ended, scenario-based question. You have to be able to answer, and this you can only do with actual hands-on. So that's where an internship, having the hands-on, is important, because
Okay.
you cannot YouTube your way out of a complex scenario.
I agree with that statement. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if somebody wanted to get into the IT field arena, what did you suggest? I say after they completed your program. Well, before they complete your program, what do you recommend? What would be the
Yeah.
following steps? If they're let's say they in another career and they're thinking about
Yep.
going to IT, what should they do?
First, do it for the right reason. Don't do it for the money. A lot of people look into IT because they hear it's a good way to make six figures or beyond. Do it for the right reason. Do it because you are genuinely interested in reinventing your career. And secondly, make sure you understand that passion for technology is built. You acquire passion by doing, by getting better. It's a positive feedback loop. Do more, learn more, and you're gonna be more passionate. So don't just wait for passion to show up at your door before you jump in. Do, get committed, and then you're gonna be passionate. You're gonna be making more money, and you're gonna be better for it in general. But get in for the right reason to start with.
All right, we got one question. Hold on. From Yana. How well is the job market in Linux and AWS?
Oh well, that's a good question, and especially now with AWS as the biggest cloud computing service, there is a lot. The sheer amount of jobs available. There's always more jobs and people ready, trained to take them. So it's a great place to be, and also the trend of infrastructure is moving towards the cloud. So whatever amount of jobs there is today, there's like probably 10 times more in 5 years. So getting in cloud technology now is the best way to position yourself to future-proof your career for the next 10 years. So yes, the job market is looking up. It's looking very bright, and it's only, at least for the next 10 years, it's looking on an upward trajectory in general.
Okay. I got a couple more questions. Oh, hold on. We got another question. What are the prerequisites for enrollment?
um don't forget, we focus on people with no IT background, so the prerequisites are your commitment, how committed you are. Are you a finisher? Are you someone who understand what it actually takes to start a process and end it? You see, because it's not gonna be easy. We don't sell easy. We sell support to actually make sure you get to destination. So that's what we help you evaluate. And of course, you have to have a minimum of uh, um, computer literacy. We offer tests for you to understand where you are. Are you proficient, highly proficient? Because this is important. And these are the things we look at in general.
All right, got it. Not a question started rolling. All right, here we go. It got another question. What are the right reasons?
The right reasons are, if you are looking for a challenge, something cool, something interesting, something that has a lot of opportunities for your career. If you are looking for something where you get to build, if you're a builder, if you are someone who likes to be challenged, cloud computing is the right thing for you. It's challenging, it's evolving, it's always it's ever changing. So you will not have a dull day in your life. And Jared, you know what I mean.
Yes, you in IT, you will never. You always have to keep learning and educating yourself.
Exactly.
If you don't educate yourself, you will fall off.
If you are in a job now, you bored, it's a little bit repetitive and it's getting on your nerves. Yeah, that's probably a good reason to look into IT. Most importantly, cloud computing, because there's so much to do.
All right, got another question for you. How does Yellowtail help students to get into the job environment?
Yeah, so through internship, we have also we assign you a student success coach that's gonna personally work with you when it's time to start turning turning training into a job. That's gonna relentlessly support you with resume, with mock interview, with helping you position yourself on the market, help you articulate what you've acquired in your internships to be able to show up and actually talk about things you've been doing. Not only you've learned, but you can actually articulate to the market. And like I tell students, the market is only interested on how you can add value to the team. So how you can show that you can add value to a team day one. So that's how that's what we do, help you articulate that in the interview process in general.
All right. I'm trying to end the show, but it got another question here. Got one more. How long is the class for Linux and Yellowtail? Well, I guess
The Linux for Jobs program is 6 months, and the AWS for Jobs program is 9 months. Yeah.
All right.
So a minimum of 6 months commitment, and I mean real commitment. If you kind of do this, you're kind of gonna get results. So you have to bring in real commitment to the process.
Okay. I have one more question. You said you cater to people that are not in IT. What if someone who's in IT, but because they got some people who are afraid to even go to the cloud or don't even want to touch Linux because they're Windows people, they're networking. Do you accept those type of students?
Yeah, they are welcome. They are
Okay,
welcome.
I got you.
Definitely. But we cater.
Okay.
We designed this program for people with no IT background. So it's going to be intentionally slower. It's going to intentionally have more support and accountability. It's going to intentionally have the foundational pieces like infrastructure and networking.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely. In fact, 30% of our AWS for Jobs program are full-blown DevOps engineer who just studied their way with a few certification and got the job, and they realize, oh man, I need more understanding, more contextual knowledge, more foundational knowledge, and they come back. So it's not exclusively for people with no IT background, but it's designed for people with no IT background.
Okay, got another question. All right, do you have financing options?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, we have multiple financing options. This is one thing we do when you show up in a career strategy session. We make sure first you're here for the right reason, you are really committed, and we start looking at financing option to make sure it fits into your budget. Yeah, definitely.
All right. Okay. All right. I think we reached our time limit. You're a busy person running a great program. I appreciate your time and efforts. Can you tell people a little bit about your social media handles, where they can reach out, how they can join the program and get more information from you all? I also posted in here.
Yeah, definitely. Yellowtail.tech on all the social media. Yellowtail.tech is our website as well. You can check us out on IG, Facebook, everywhere. Just look us up.
Yeah, I appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on. For everybody else who's watching, thank you for your time and tuning in. Please share, like, and follow us. This is a new season. We'll be having more guests, and I'll be doing more content throughout the week. I hope you enjoyed. If you didn't get your question in, sorry, you missed the time frame. We started at 10:30. I told you the time. Sorry, no more questions. He has to go.
No
But maybe
problem,
I'll
man.
bring it back later on as another guest on another show. All right. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your time. Any last words?
No, man. Thank you for having me, Jared. And I hope more people. There's so much jobs available,
Yes.
in this business. So it's a great time to consider IT. For the right reasons, but consider it.
All right. Appreciate it. All right. Thank y'all for tuning in. We
All
out.
right, man. Peace.